Good morning, students. We are back with another topic, that is biodiversity and ecosystem services. This topic is very important and it is meant for MSc Botany, fourth semester. The paper is Biodiversity and Conservation. In this talk, we will talk about the types of biodiversity, total number of species, loss of biodiversity, what are the different causes of biodiversity loss, and finally ecosystem services. You know what is biodiversity? If we say, we must understand that the protection of biological diversity is very much central to conservation biology. Conservation biologists use this term biological diversity or simply biodiversity to mean the complete range of species and biological communities, as well as the genetic variation within species and all ecosystem processes. By this definition, biodiversity must be considered on three different levels. One is species diversity, genetic diversity, ecosystem diversity. Then what are the ecosystem services? Ecosystem services are the direct or indirect contributions of ecosystem to the human well-being. They support directly or indirectly our survival and quality of life. So now we talked about the type of biodiversity, species diversity, genetic diversity, ecosystem diversity. Species diversity, we read all the species on earth, including single-celled bacteria, archaea, and protista, as well as the multicellular species of the plants, fungi, and animals. They all constitute species biodiversity. Genetic diversity, the genetic variations within species, both among individuals with a single population and among geographically separate populations of a species. Then ecosystem diversity, the different biological communities and processes involving the chemical and physical environment. All three levels, are necessary for the continued survival of life as we know it, and all are important to people. Species diversity represents the entire range of evolutionary and ecological adaptations of species to particular environments. It provides people with diverse resources to use when needed. For example, a forest with many species produces a wide variety of plant and animal products that can be used as food, shelter, and medicine. So similarly, genetic diversity, it is also the total number of genetic characteristics in the genetic makeup of a species. We have thousands of varieties of banana, only mango, huge variety of mango is available, so that all constitute genetic diversity. Species diversity, as I have already mentioned, is the number of different species that are represented in a given community. So you can name anything, whatever you see on earth, that is species diversity. Different kind of plants, animals, fungi, all I have talked about it. Then ecological diversity, that is again ecosystem diversity. You can say we have deserts, we have coral reefs, we have prairies, we have tundra, taigas, and different kind of ecosystems are available with us. So now the question arises, how many species are there on earth and how many in India? The data is quite old one. You can search for the new data. According to the IUCN, in 2004, 1.5 million of plants and creatures were present in our biosphere. These all are rough estimates. Robert May, that he places the worldwide species diversity to be around 7 million. 70% of these are animals. Plant comprises about 22%. Insect comprises about 70% of animal kingdom. India has just 2.4% of world's territory zone, and it contributes about 8% of total species diversity. So this thing is very, very important. Then how the biodiversity is being lost? There is no doubt that we are heading into the sixth mass extinction. biodiversity is being lost at a rapid rate. IUCN, Red List 2004. Again, the data is quite old. You can look for the new one. It reports the elimination of about 784 species, and just like dodo in the Mauritius, thylacine, Australia. There are three subspecies of tiger: Bali, Java, Caspian. They all have been eliminated, lost forever. So, we had already five mass extinctions, and sixth mass extinction is being rapidly progressing. And all those five were with natural disasters, but this sixth mass extinction, anthropogenic disturbances are playing a huge role in it. So what are the causes of biodiversity loss? You can say hippo, you expand hippo, habitat loss, invasive species, population, pollution, and overexploitation. Or you can also say there are four major causes, which is generally we call them evil quartet: habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invasion, co-extinction. So these are very, very important. This then habitat loss and fragmentation, deforestation, urbanization, they directly result into habitat loss and fragmentation. Once the land is fragmented, it's not suitable for upholding the diversity. So it's very, very important these days. The lands are being converted into agricultural fields, and urbanization activities are being going on. Railway tracks are being created, so it all results into habitat loss and fragmentation. This is perhaps the most important factor in biodiversity loss. Overexploitation, man have always exploited, but nowadays, the present times, the over dependence of man on you can say diversity has resulted into over exploitation of wild medicinal plants. There are so many drugs being manufactured or being prepared from plants or animals. Then there are again game hunting, game animals. So these all result into over exploitation. Alien species invasion, very perhaps another very important reason. 173 species of invasive alien plants and 157 species of animals in India. Parthenium is Lantana camera, Parthenium. They have literally encroached all the land. The Himalayas have been invaded by this lantana. Um, it's a huge problem these days. Then co-extinction, there are many cases where if one species is lost, that results into loss of another species, which perhaps had been the mutualists. Passenger pigeon extinction, is a direct result of co-extinction. And its parasitic bird, Ice columbicola, also extinct, has become extinct these days. Then we come to the ecosystem services. We know man has always dependent on these ecosystem services since time immemorial. Our existence depends on nature and the products which we obtain from nature. The concept of ecosystem services, it emerged during 1970s, and since then it has gained increasingly importance in these coming decades, because it has been realized there are people who are directly dependent on these ecosystem services, whether they are some Amazonian tribes, whether they are some any indigenous tribes, or in Australia or in Asia or in India. So they directly depend on these. Broadly, we can group these into four broad categories, that is provisioning, regulating, supporting, and cultural services. When we talk about provisioning services, whatever we get, just like any provisional store, you go and buy things. So here also we are obtaining, we are rather extracting things from nature: water, food, wood, timber, any other goods that have some benefits for people. they obtain from ecosystems, and they are generally called as provisioning services. Then regulating services, again very important. These are defined as the benefits obtained from the regulation of ecosystem processes such as climate regulation, water purification, and waste management, or pollination or pest control. So whatever, all the processes are being regulated in nature, they come under regulating services. Then supporting ecosystem services, these are very necessary for the production of all other ecosystem services. Biomass production, production of atmospheric oxygen, soil formation and water cycling, nutrient cycling. These all are supporting services. Without these supporting services, I think humans or life as such cannot exist on this planet. Then cultural ecosystem services, again very important. These cultural ecosystem services, these are non-material benefits. We cannot, we cannot monetize them. We cannot evaluate their importance in monetary gains. But people obtain them through recreation, tourism, intellectual development, spiritual enrichment, reflection, and creative and aesthetic experience. So human evolution or human ideas, they all have been created or gained in nature, because ultimately it's nature where we go and spend some peaceful time in harmony with the nature, and then we benefit a lot, and our body is regenerated, our ideas are regenerated, and these are perhaps very important indirect benefits which people these days or these decades, they are not realizing how important they have become to our existence. So if we can go in detail, then apart from cultural provisioning, this figure is clearly shows that there is a web. A human is encircled by nature all around itself, and the life is, this ecosystem is sustaining. Life is sustained because we not only obtain food or any material or any medicines, but we have, soil formation, phytoremediation, then social and religious upliftment, ethics, all these pollination or climate regulation. So our all things happening around us, they they are a part of nature and we are obtaining them. So this topic is very important.